Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, everyone. This is a quick voice test. I know you guys aren't in here yet, but for those of you who are, let me know. If you guys can hear me A-okay. We'll be beginning in around 10 minutes. So stay tuned. Hello, hello, hello. How's it going, Mystic? Steve, Nishant, Sam, and the beautiful, gorgeous Krisha is in here too. Good to see all of you. And hey, Candace, good to see you in here too. Mackenzie, how's it going? How is it going? We're gonna enjoy some nice cocktails, mocktails, and some charts today. Hopefully we can have some interesting conversations like last week. Last week was fun. I had a blast. Hey Samson, happy new year, buddy. My man. Hey Marin, how's it going, man? Nice, she's getting her cocktail ready too. Krisha made me a cocktail, but it's not as strong as she usually makes it for me. So I'm not sure whether to be happy about that because I'm doing a stream, or to be disappointed because, you know, usually expect strong drink. Raja, how's it going, Raja? Good to see you in here, bud. Nishan Satyam says, I'm a Mango dashboard user for almost a year long. Love the new enhancements your team keeps adding. It's making life so easy. Kudos to the team for putting in the effort, my man. Yeah, man, we've been working hard on it. We keep improving it, and it's hard to consistently improve it while keeping the Mango feel. You know, that's the hard part, because it's easy to keep adding features. But as a product manager, product manager, I know the delicate balance of, I know how hard it is to balance the look and feel of your original product with adding features as well, without making it too complicated and enter the mode of featureitis, you know. So I'm pretty proud of it too, and I'm so happy that you're enjoying it, man. Glass of carrot juice, says Nishan Satyam. You gotta spike that with some vodka, man. Art of Malacca. Hey man, happy new year to you as well. Mackenzie says, been trigger happy to buy back in after selling my ETH at 4,200. Keep remembering how low it can go though. You know what, man, Mackenzie, let's talk about that a little bit more today. If you could go ahead and remind me to bring this topic up again, we can have a conversation on that, because I'm pretty sure it's going to help a lot of people, especially since the word of the year this year is discipline, right? Discipline, the Mango word of the year. Let's not forget. I'm going to keep reminding you guys all year. Are you drinking cocktails in the morning? It's not really morning for me. It's more like, I've been up since 4:30 a.m. so define morning, right? And besides, I'm actually, I have a different view on drinking earlier in the day versus drinking in the evenings, or late evenings at the very least. But then again, who am I to even speak on the matter? I don't drink too often, and I'm not like an expert on any of this. I'm what most people would call a weakling, or like, what's the term for people who get tipsy really quick because they don't drink too often? There's a term for that. But yeah. Hey, we counted down 10 minutes already. Damn, time is flying. Good morning, guys. My name is Sean Dex, and I welcome you back to the Mango live freaking stream. Oh yes, lightweight. Raja has me covered. Lightweight, yeah, that's what I am. I am a lightweight, a proud lightweight at that. Oops. We do have charts up over here that you guys probably don't care about, right? None of you guys care about SPY. All you guys care about is the altcoins. I should put up some shitcoin over here. What's the shittiest of shitcoins that I can think of? Top of my head, the shittiest of shitcoins. Oh yeah, of course. I'm pretty sure most of you guys don't know about this coin over here, but it's the shittiest of shitcoins. Doesn't get any shittier than this one. I'm gonna get so much hate for this. I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. Jesus Christ! Do not send the nuclear missiles over to my location. Ripple. Oh yeah, that would have been a nice one, but don't want to piss off the Ripple army. Those guys actually have an army waiting. Hey Murli, how's it going, man? Oh wait, but I want to talk about my stance on drinking earlier in the day versus drinking in the evening. I think all of the world is misguided on the idea that they should be drinking. Well, then again, it depends on your way of life, right? If you drink in late in the evenings and drink at night, and then you go to sleep with the alcohol still in your system, don't you wake up feeling like complete ass? You feel like shit. That's because of the dehydration that the body goes through without you actually hydrating yourself while the body is getting rid of the toxins that alcohol obviously has, right? So is it not better for you to get tipsier during the day, allowing the alcohol to get out of your system before you go to bed and then sleep well, right? If you drink and then go to bed, you're gonna wake up feeling exhausted and tired, mostly because you did not sleep well, right? You have very, very disturbed sleep. So I actually do not drink at all after 8 p.m. After that's like the hard deadline. I try not to drink at all after 7 p.m. actually. So that's my stance, and you guys should try to just try it out and see if it improves your life. It's definitely improved my life. You're a Bitcoin SV and Ethereum maximalist. That's interesting. No, don't start drinking in the morning either, which is why I mentioned that point on depends on your lifestyle. Now I'm a trader, okay? I get to choose when I go on vacation, when I choose my weekends. Like today's a weekend for me, right? I decided Thursdays, weekends, right? So I get to define my schedule. I don't need to work in the evenings. I don't need to work all week, right? So because of that, I can start drinking a little bit earlier and then go to bed a lot earlier, and it does not impede my life. I would never ever trade with alcohol in my system, for example. Never, right? So if it impedes your ability to actually perform, don't drink, man. Don't drink in the morning. But if you're on vacation, for example, right, and you're in Mexico, you're in Cuba, you're enjoying one of those fancy all-inclusives, start freaking drinking in the morning, man. Enjoy a day and stop around like 5 p.m. 6 p.m. ish, and then enjoy dinner, right? Don't wake up drunk the next day. You just ruin your vacation. Again, this is something else that people disagree with. They think they should be drinking and getting drunk all night and going to sleep drunk. I think that's stupid. But the whole world does it. And Jesus Christ, we're not talking about trading at all. Post-delivery? Whoa. Congratulations. You just had a kid? That's amazing. Let me just go ahead and... Is the music too loud, too soft, etc., etc.? Before we begin? Okay, that's good to know. Oh, and another reason why it is a day to celebrate is because apparently one of our viewers, one of our seedlings in fact, Jessica, let us know that we have hit the 1,000 video mark. Mango has officially posted 1,000 videos. I was surprised to find out. Like, I was like, holy, I was actually stunned. It was a moment of it felt surreal to me, because Jesus Christ, 1,000 videos, guys, 1,000 videos. When I started this channel, I was so reluctant to get on video. I was so reluctant to even do videos. I'm more of a writer. I've always enjoyed writing. Coming on video was such a difficult thing for me to do, and the idea of posting 1,000 videos didn't even occur to me. And Jesus Christ, 1,000 videos, right? So this is to all of you, following us on this journey, being with us on this journey, going through the pain, the tears, the joys, the victories. Man, when we started this channel, Bitcoin was at $3,000. $3,000. And no, this was not COVID. This was 2018. So, Jesus Christ. Simon says, you knew you'd done 1,000. Don't know. I had no idea, man. I had no idea. Yeah, it was. What I can say though on that is that if you guys don't focus on the this sits in line, right, with our motto at Mango, especially at Seed, journey before destination. We never ever, Kush and I never ever had that constant idea in our minds, hit 1,000 videos, hit 1,000 videos. It was just about enjoying the journey. As long as we were enjoying the journey, we would keep doing it. Similar with your trading, guys. Don't focus on that big number. Believe me, when that number does come, right, if you guys ever reach that number without like some massive luck in some shitcoin or altcoin that goes ballistic, and I hope you guys do get that, right, because why not? Lottery ticket win. But if you guys actually do this properly, through the proper methodology of being a trader, right, you're going to notice that as it approaches, right, you're not even going to be caring about the big number. And you guys all know which big number you guys have in your mind, right? When Kush and I achieved our numbers, it just came and went like it was nothing. Not because we didn't appreciate it, it's because the journey was a lot more important at the time. We were enjoying it so much. And the number starts being irrelevant at one point. The destination starts being irrelevant. Even right now, 1,000 videos, it's great, it feels surreal, blah, 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 but it's really irrelevant, right, in the grand scheme of things. So I'm struggling to explain what I'm trying to explain. I hope you guys get it though. Journey before destination. The success of compounding your account sneaks. No. Again, you're thinking about the compounding effect because you recently looked into that, Raja. I know you brought it up and see it as well, it's right. It's important. Compounding is freaking powerful, but compounding is part of the journey, right? And the journey, or rather, compounding is a consequence of the journey. If you just keep focusing on the journey, it's then that you can compound, right? Because like you said in Seed, the strategy, you need to see the strategy through, right? You need to be able to risk manage properly. If you start focusing on each one of those losses that you will definitely incur while executing on your strategy, you will not be able to emotionally execute the next trade. That could be the winner, right? You need to take the loss, get out of the loss, and then put on the next trade, which could be the big winner that pays for your losses and then some. And you need to keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that. Once you fall in love with that process, once you fall in love with that journey of taking the loss, accepting the loss, being like, hey, this is not a reflection of me. Just because I lost a trade doesn't make me a loser. It's just part of the strategy. The reflection of me is my ability to execute on my journey, which is your strategy, right? Once you fall in love with that, that's when it will just come and go. Your goals, your financial goals will just come and you'll be past your financial goals suddenly and you'll be thinking, damn. So that's what I'm trying to say. Focus on the big picture of executing your strategy, and your wealth gains will be a consequence of you following your journey. right? But if you focus on the destination, you will not be able to go through the journey. Believe me, more than any other field, this is true in trading. Exactly, this is all about it's all about focusing on discipline. Exactly, discipline, the word of the year. So discipline, guys. Focus on your strategy. That's going to be the key thing for you guys this year. Where do you apply your discipline? For you guys, it could be focusing solely on the strategy, right? Or the strategy aspect of your trading. All that discipline needs to go there. For me, I'm at a point where I've literally brainwashed myself into following my strategy, where I don't care. I lose so much, guys. I lose so many of my trades. I don't lose so much. I lose many of my trades, but it doesn't matter to me. I just go on to the next trade. I know that in the long term, I'm going to be successful. I hope that makes sense to you guys. I've been ranting. All right, with that, actually, we should actually freaking start the stream. There's a lot to talk about today, so to be able to cover it all, we should probably begin. And what should we begin with? I think we should start with the charts, or do you guys want to start with? Oops, that's not the right one, Sean. That's the right one. Oh. Yeah, focusing on the destination is over leveraging and blowing up your account. That's the consequence of focusing on the destination. I think I've outperformed most of my peers in 2017, 2018, simply by outlasting them, right? I came into the space with what? $5,000, dude. $5,000. That's it. Probably less if you convert the USD to CAD conversion rate. I didn't have much to start with, but the people I knew who were already in like the deep six figures, so like close to the seven figures, right? And they're not here anymore. They're gone. Those guys are gone. So just think about that. Just think about that. Jim Rohn Wisdom says, set yourself a goal to become a millionaire. Not for 1 mil. You can give that away, but for what it will make you to achieve it. Yeah. Exactly. That's profound, man. That's profound. I want you guys to read that and read that again. So today we're not going to be systematic. We're not going to be structured in our videos at all. I think you guys get a lot of that throughout the week in our shorter videos that are around 10 to 15 minutes long. In regards to Bitcoin's analysis, I really recommend you guys watch the video Krishan and I did this morning. We talked about some key levels, particularly 46,000 to 47,000. Krishan has a target of around, I wouldn't say target, I would say upside resistance level of 47,000, while I am calling, again, I wouldn't say calling, I would say I am saying that 46,000 on Bitcoin is particularly important, right? And yeah, wow, this is the daily time frame. So the daily Tenkin has begun to flatten out over there too. How many of you guys have watched today's daily video? Because if you guys have all watched the daily video, I'm not going to give you guys a quick summary on this because it'll just be redundant for you guys. But if you guys have watched it and you guys want me to kind of reinforce it in your minds anyways, I can go ahead and talk about it again quickly. But the daily video, I kind of even reconstructed the trade for you guys, where I walked through the process of how I came up with those levels. Kisha says Bitcoin. Kisha wants to start with Bitcoin. Kisha has been staring at Bitcoin all week, for multiple weeks now, so she's obsessed. She just wants more Bitcoin. She's turned into a true believer. And she wasn't one. Believe it or not, guys, it took her 1 year or more to turn into as true of a believer as I was. It takes time, man. It takes time to fully understand Bitcoin. You got to go down the rabbit hole. Am I looking for shorts in the 46 to 47k range? I've been shorting, technically shorting. I've been essentially selling calls at the 46 to 47k on the shorter dated expirations. So I've been collecting premium at that region for a while now. But again, on that note, by the way, keep in mind that I'm biased, right? Clearly I'm biased because I'm selling I'm selling wall over there. So on that note though, I'm also long volatility between 53k and 40-ish k, right? So as long as Bitcoin breaks down underneath this level and breaks with Vindication and breaks above this level over here, that's when I make money too. So I make money as long as Bitcoin at the moment short. My next expiration dates are around the 14th, right? So if Bitcoin doesn't break past 46k by the 14th, I make money. And then if Bitcoin breaks past 53k by 25th Feb, or breaks underneath 40k by 25th Feb, I make money there too. Again, these are more complex trades, and these are trades that I've structured to protect myself against any downside volatility particularly. And now I'm selling these calls essentially to kind of pay for my trade while this price action is going sideways. So that way, in case price does literally go sideways and does nothing for the next month, it wasn't as expensive of a insurance policy as it otherwise would be, right? Do you guys understand what I mean? Again, that's just more of a mindset thing that I'm doing to pay for my insurance policy. That's again, and you guys know my thoughts on anything that helps you mentally to execute on your trade is very, very useful, because people downplay the mindset aspect of executing on your trade. So yeah, that's my stance on the 46k level. I think it's important, and I'm using it as edge to say that, hey, I don't think Bitcoin is going to break past that level. This is essentially what I'm saying. I don't think Bitcoin is going to break past that level in the short term without any resistance, right? It could break it, right? It could break it in the midterm and the long term, definitely, because that's how I've structured my trade, right? But because I know that this is such a key level, I'm willing to put some risk on that level and position myself to collect premium on that level. So 46k is that key level. Hey Wolvie, how's it going, my man? I hope you can stay, because it's more fun with you here, and more importantly, what could you possibly be doing at work other than pretending to be doing work? Let's be honest. So this is what you can do, man. Put on your headphones, alt tab the video, and pretend to be on your project management or Excel sheet, whatever work you're doing at work, so your boss doesn't know that you're listening to some mango wisdom. I'm being rather pretentious right now. Once you're down the rabbit hole, there's no coming out of it. Ooh. Indeed. Hey Hobo Nikhil, how's it going, man? Can someone source a reference for learning a strangle option? Top of my head, I wouldn't be able to do it. There's so many bad sources out there, so don't try to learn a strategy. That's how I want to even structure the Mango course on options. I'm not going to teach you guys strategies. Hey, this is a strategy, that's a strategy. When you guys are done with the Mango options course, if I ever do it, you guys will be able to construct your strategies without even knowing the name of your strategy, right? It'll be irrelevant. You guys will laugh at people using the names to sound cool. it's not that they're not important. The names are important to kind of convey the message to your fellow options traders that you have so and so strategy on, but it's really irrelevant for you as a trader. So learning the name of a strategy and learning how to execute a particular strategy is really useless. It's really useless in my opinion. Because what you really need to be learning is the fundamentals of the underlying tools within the, you could call them options framework, to be able to execute whatever you want, to fit what you want from the markets. The entire point of options trading is for you to be able to have options, to have, when I say options, I mean in the literal term of the word. If you say, hey, I'm going to learn a triangle and then I'm going to see if I can put it on, fit it within the context of the current market conditions, it's a very, very binary way of trading, black and white way of trading, which in my opinion completely takes away from the power of options. The power of options that I found so fascinating, that made me so eager to learn it and execute on it, was the fact that I could literally look at the current environment, figure out what is going on and how I can construct a trade to take advantage of it, right? Because it allows you to do, if you combine it with actual trading, right? Your ability to trade the underlying, which is why I love Deribit. You get to trade the underlying while also putting on option trades. You combine the two, you literally get to trade in any sort of environment. Oh man. How's it going, Mark? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, so Nishan says on the right side of the volatility number, there is a arrow-like symbol which either points up or green or down red. How do I read this red-green arrow in conjunction with volatility along with long SRT? What's are you referring to a particular are you referring to a particular coin like SRT? I don't see any SRT, so. Oh, you mean long or short? That's, man, I had a brain fart moment over there. Apologies. I haven't actually seen that term used before. But what was your question again? Let me alter. I've lost the chat window. Okay, wait. I think I remember. You say what does the red mean? What does the arrow mean? Towards the downside or towards the upside? It means the volatility is going down, right? That's what it means. Red down, green up. Unless I'm misunderstanding your question. I actually lost the window. Option course hype now diminishes. I just don't think there'll be enough people to warrant putting in the effort to make the course, man. That's always my struggle, to think like, will people even care? I hope everyone's having a great New Year's. Let's get weird, people. Okay. Let's talk about a couple of things. Let's talk about what's going on with the actual macro market. Should we wait for Chauvin and Julian? We have our bot in here. Yep, Mark is in here. Julian's in here, I believe. Wolvie's in here as well, but he's probably listening in the background. And Chauvin's not in here. He's probably gonna miss the stream. And Stan is in here. How's it going, Stan? Good to see you, bud. Lindica. Ooh, Lindsay in here too. He says, wow, congrats, cheers to you guys. Yeah, 1,000 videos. I can't believe we made it to that number. I made a poll last time. We got 20 people voting yes for the course. No, it was like 11 people. Oh, Sherwin is here. Oh man, we were literally just asking about you. Or rather, I was asking about you. Yeah, so Nishant, the volatility number is the current vol, right? The arrow essentially indicates whether the volatility is reduced or increased. Get it? By the way, guys, how are you enjoying all the new features on the dashboard? Nishant gave us his review earlier. He's saying he's enjoying it. I'm going to go ahead and read it out for Mock, since Mock probably missed it. Scroll up. Ooh, he says, I'm a Mango dashboard user for almost a year long. Love the new enhancements your team keeps adding. It's making life so easy. Kudos to the team for putting in the effort. Indeed, and one of our major goals is exactly that, right? To keep the simplicity while also making it easier for you guys to filter out trading opportunities. And that's what the dashboard is primarily for, guys, to be able to filter out opportunities really quickly. You guys can set your alerts, right? Add your favorites. So the alerts is this column over here. It will send you an email alert each time the trend switches from either long to short or long to neutral, etc., right? So it keeps you updated on the time frame that you're interested in. So you can set your alerts for each one of the time frames independently, and more importantly, you can also set your favorites and keep focused on a few coins that you are interested in without getting overwhelmed with what the rest of the market is doing, right? It really depends on how your trading personality works. If you're the kind of person that wants to look at all the coins at the same time, great, you get to use the filter the search bar over here. But if you're the kind of person who wants to ignore the distractions and make sure that you're focusing on only the top 10 coins or top 15 coins or the top DeFi coins, you can make your own favorites list and focus on that too. So the snappiness of the dashboard was very important to us. So let us know though how you guys are enjoying the dashboard, and accordingly we'll make more changes. And I just realized you guys can't see me. Now you guys can see me. There we go. Make sure you guys gently tap the like button like Mackenzie did. Don't be too harsh with it. Treat it delicately. All right, so my quick thoughts on Bitcoin. Again, I recommend you guys watch the video posted earlier this morning. It's a lot more in-depth, a lot more detailed, and you guys get a better idea of what Kusha's levels are as well, and her thoughts on Bitcoin. So I'm currently looking at 46,000 as a major level that Bitcoin needs to overcome before we can entertain the final boss. The final boss is going to be $53,000. And funnily enough, over here on the daily time frame, it's all marked out for us. You can look at the Tenkin, it's sitting at $46,000. You can look at the Kijun, it's sitting at $53,000, right? So literally the daily alone, each level now, you guys can play as a range trade, leading up to the trend trade opportunities on the much higher and more impulsive time frames. Right? No, I wouldn't say higher, I'd say the mid time frames that would lead to those impulsive moves. So you guys can see the Tenkin sitting at 46k, you guys can see the Kijun sitting at 53k, but I was particularly looking at the 2-day time frame to derive those levels. Coincidentally, it matches up with the daily Ichimoku as well. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get a clean chart for you guys and quickly go through how I came up with these levels. For those of you who want just a quick rundown, I'm just going to go. Okay, so I was looking at the 2-day time frame, and essentially we are marking out the levels or the range that Bitcoin has been trapped within, derived from major rejections and bounces off the 2-day time frame. We're going to look at these candle closes right over here, guys, on our way to 69,000. Mark it out over here. You guys can see that we rejected off those levels, or rather off that level twice, right? Each time that we tested it, failed to see the continuation and the upthrust that all the bulls were looking for, including me. That was an exciting moment, but Bitcoin showed weakness over there. If you drive down to the 4-hour, you're gonna see how ugly that looked. Yeah, look at that. It was literally an M-like formation, guys. Double rejection, broke down, and everyone got out of the trade right after, right? Price action speaks for itself. So that's a major level that Bitcoin needs to overcome before you can get ultra excited. But there's another level that you guys need to keep an eye on. Similar to how we marked out this level over here on the 2-day time frame. Another level that's important is this level over here. Same thing, candle closes, right? Candle closes. So we rejected off here, bounced off here, and then had the major move to 69,000. Well, where have we come down and found support in the most recent action? Right over here, right? Same level, right? So over here we have resistance, over here we have support. So that's the major level or levels that I'm looking for Bitcoin to work within in this range. Now we want a midpoint, right? How do we mark out a midpoint? Well, we just take our ruler and then mark out the midpoint right over there, and mark out a horizontal. That's coming in at around 46,000, 45,900, 46,000, give or take. But you guys can see, yeah, it's pretty much 46,000. So that's how I marked out these levels. And now we're going to go ahead and see that we have a lot of confluence coming in on these levels on multiple indicators. If you turn on your 2-day dynamic, which has been a major indicator for us, it allowed us to get bearish and cautious all the way over here, even though we were super bullish over here, right? No shame in that. The trend is up, we are going to be bullish. But we lost the 2-day dynamic and kept rejecting off it multiple times, failed to reclaim it, and that's when we postulated that big capitulation event to the 2-day 200 moving average, which was where? Right over here at the time, guys. It was right over here at the time. The 2-day 200 moving average was where we looked to buy the dip, take the trade, and essentially sell into the trade once we got the bounce. Our thesis was a bounce. That's really important, by the way. Your thesis needs to be a bounce, or rather, if your thesis is a bounce, you need to be selling into it. If your thesis is not a bounce, and you're playing the trend trade, don't sell into it. Don't be impulsive, right? So it's really important to either write down your thesis before you take the trade or remember your thesis. I recommend writing it down if you're a new trader because your emotions are going to get the better of you. Okay, that being said, the 200 moving average was right there, right? Oops. That was a key level. Let's go ahead and see where the 200 moving average is right now. It's moved up, guys. We bounced off it, but where's it now? Where's it now? $46,000. So we have the 2-day dynamic there, the 2-day 200 moving average there. What else do we have there? The 2-day freaking Tenkin as well, right? So a lot going on over there, guys. A lot going on over there. That's good edge. That's good edge, which is why I've been taking that opportunity to essentially short that level. Does that make sense? We also have the monthly 10 SMA. Right, the monthly 10 SMA coming in at around 47K. Mark that out for you guys quickly. Or rather, you can just see it over here on the data window, 47,105. So that level is going to be contested. That level is going to be contested. Stan, how's it going, my man? Stan the man. What would you consider a strong signature for Bitcoin turning around? It's a 2-day dynamic. If we can clear the 2-day dynamic completely, right? So I'm talking about living above the entire zone of the 2-day dynamic, not just the bottom of the zone. So that's what got us re-bullish over here, right? Now, I'd like to use this as an example as well, but we were already bullish on this a little bit earlier than the 2-day dynamic, but the 2-day dynamic gave us that confirmation, right? So losing it over here, we got bearish, and yeah, I wouldn't say bearish, we got cautious over here, right? We had a Was it the 4-day Kijun underneath here, or was it the 2-day Kijun? I believe it was the 4-day Kijun. But that would be the first big signal for me. I think taking $53,000 though, taking back this level over here is going to be really key for sure. Be very so Murli asks, could you share tips on how to trade a thesis for trade how to write a thesis for trades for new traders like me? Be very specific in what you're expecting and what you're going to do. Be very specific in what you expect. So essentially you say that I am expecting Bitcoin to do A, and then I'm going to do B, and if Bitcoin doesn't do A, I'm not going to do B, and if Bitcoin instead does C, I will do this. You need to be very specific, and the simpler you keep it though, right? You can be simple in your specificity. Hope I said that was a tongue twister, but you know what I mean. Be simple about it so that you can execute on it. Don't leave any room for doubt. Do I think that the Fed tightening has been priced in? So to speak, Krisha, so to speak. So we can go ahead and talk about that too now. In fact, I'm just going to quickly use the washroom. I need a washroom break. An early washroom break, unfortunately, before we go any further. If you guys, Krisha, if you do find any good questions within the chat, note them down for me so that I could get back to them. But yeah, be right back. Also get some snacks. Alrighty, I'm back. Alright, so to answer the questions, man, NFT scams are on the rise. I've seen so much crap around. Yeah, it's all unraveling, man. But it's got like in the long run though. I'm long run. I by the way, I do not endorse any NFTs whatsoever. I do believe though that in the long run NFTs are going to be pretty ingrained in society, right? Is this like just like ICOs, guys? Just like ICOs, a lot of scams, a lot of bullshit, a lot of money was lost, a lot of money was made, a lot of things that seemed so like life changing at the time. You guys, man, there were freaking shit coins that I had that at the time they were doing so well, like freaking 20x, etc. That you thought there's no way this is gonna turn into something meaningless and zero and be a forgotten idea, forgotten concept. But we're sitting here now 4 years later. Nobody even talks about those CEOs, nobody talks about those founders. It's all gone. Those coins are like not even, they're non-factors, right? But the idea of an ICO stuck around, right? And it's pretty important. So similarly, I think especially with gaming, I think NFTs are gonna be very crucial. Okay, man, we're all over the place. I want to target questions properly. First I want to talk, rather I want to answer all of Nishant's questions. Nishant had and we're just jumping around and I feel bad, so let's at least be structured with our question and answers. Nishant, are you still here? If you are here, I do want to hey, you've been a dashboard user for 1 year, man. I do want to give you the attention you deserve. So let me know if you're still here and I'll answer whatever questions. I'll try to answer whatever questions you have. Remember, ICX was basically supposed to be Korean Ethereum. I remember it reached 90k sats. It went down to 2k sats in the Bay. Dude, yeah, I remember ICX. And there were some influencers who made so much money by shilling the shit out of it to you guys. I mean, not you guys specifically, but to the general public. There is. I can confidently say, or not confident is not the word. I can proudly say with my chin up that even though there are some coins that I've talked about on Mango, right? I've not shielded to you guys. In fact, I've gone out of my way to underhype it, right? Mentioned it, didn't tell you guys that it's going to change the world, nothing, etc., etc. None of that, right? And those coins have gone up to freaking do what? 60x? No. Yeah, it's ridiculous numbers, right? Ridiculous numbers. But my point is, like, I can probably say that I did not shill you guys bags that I've had, right? And Mango has made a point to not be one of those communities, and because of that, I've those who it's hard to explain. We will never, ever shill you our bags. I will always tell you, hey, I'm biased on so and so, and if I have a huge holding on something, I'll try not to talk about it at all. Because my job over here is one thing and one thing only: to teach you guys how to risk manage, not to buy shit to turn into like millionaires, and not to figure out what the next lottery ticket, the winning number to the lottery ticket is, right? I'm not here for that. You guys have other channels for that. There was this girl who had a massive crush on me, who swore I looked like The Weeknd. Misha knows who I'm talking about. I don't think I've listened to any of their songs, or maybe I haven't and didn't realize it was them. Hey Philippe, how's it going, man? Okay, so Nishant is fine with me ranting on about Bitcoin. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So in that vein, I'm gonna go ahead and answer Krisha's question. She asked about Krisha, you had a question in regards to inflation, right? Or was it tightening? What was your question? Krisha's like, which girl? I mean, I don't know which coin's gonna be the winning lottery ticket though, right? Like, you don't know. You don't ever know, man. You don't ever know. So what these influencers are gonna do is they're going to shill you like 50 effing coins, and they've been approached to do so, and in return they've gotten a allocation of those coins, and they don't care which one wins. They don't care which one wins as long as one of them wins, and they've gotten all of those allocations for free. And I've been approached with similar deals, right? As long as I talk about those coins on Mango, and I tell you guys about how awesome this project is and how it will be beneficial for your lives. I get these emails every freaking day. I've never taken a single one of these requests. So where was I going with this? Yeah. As long as you shill like 50, one of them is bound to be right, correct? So then they're right, and then you're gonna be like, I told you so. See, guys, because I called so and so coin, it was bound to be. Because I called so and so coin, I made so much money. I made 50x, I made 100x, etc., etc. I'm a genius, but you can't. You're not a genius. You're not a genius. You just spread your bets, and you guys. Wait, Sean, you're not affiliated with Mango Coin? Is there really a Mango Coin? You guys are kidding, right? Hey Lucas, how's it going, man? And do not give Mock any ideas. Do not give Mock any ideas. Okay, so Krisha asks, would the Fed tightening hit money supply and send the markets tumbling further? Okay, so right now, any tightening from the Fed is scheduled to come in around March. Okay, but markets are forward acting, forward thinking, and because the Fed has a forward guidance policy where they tell people what to expect, that in itself is a tool. Okay? Nobody's talking about that. But forward guidance, which was essentially introduced by Ben Bernanke in 2008, after the 2008 financial crisis, global financial crisis. You guys are all aware of that. I hope to God you guys are aware of that. Bitcoin was worth it on the 2008 financial crisis. But global forward guidance is essentially the Fed basically telling banks, etc., what they are going to do, right? It allows them to prepare, allows them to be bullish. It was essentially put in place to let the banks know that, hey, you know what? Don't worry, guys. We're going to keep interest rates low at the time. 2008 financial crisis hit the world and hit the world hard. Where the Fed stepped in at the time relatively quickly, not as quickly as they step in today. But they stepped in and they saved the markets. But leading into 2010, unemployment was still pretty high, right? The unemployment rate, I think at the time, was printing numbers of around 10%, which was pretty scary. And the economy wasn't really improving. So they essentially started putting in these ideas, or started floating these ideas of quantitative easing, right? Constantly buying back assets to be able to spur the economy further. But the entire idea over there was to be able to give confidence back to the economy so they start taking on risk. And that's when Ben Bernanke came up with this idea of forward guidance. And he was essentially telling the banks that, hey, don't worry, we're going to tell you what we are going to do, so you guys don't have to speculate on what we are going to do. Okay, we're going to tell you what we're going to do, and what we are telling you is that we're going to keep interest rates low. Okay, so if the banks are all, you guys need to understand that the primary source of profits for a bank is essentially from lending, right? That's what banks do, right? They are businesses that lend money and they make profit from that. If the banks know that interest rates are going to be low and essentially be kept at zero, what are they going to be thinking to themselves? They're going to be thinking, hey, we might as well take on risk right now, because Ben Bernanke is going to be keeping interest rates low forever. Because if your other alternative was, hey, interest rates are going to go up to 15% during, like for example, during the time of Paul Volcker, where interest rates are really high, what are banks going to do? They're going to keep that money with themselves, right? Because they are going to get a lot more interest rate, or rather a lot more yield is a better word, than from lending it out to a entrepreneur at 10%, right? Even if you charge as high as 10%, which seems ridiculous today, they're better off just holding the money, right? So Ben Bernanke wanted none of that. He wanted them to know that regardless of what we did in 2008, we're going to be keeping interest rates low for a good amount of time. That was forward guidance. Today, I believe forward guidance is essentially being used as another tool that nobody's talking about. I'm pretty sure in 10 years, everyone's going to be writing books about this. Forward guidance is going to be used as a tool to essentially posture in a direction to cause the markets and cause people to do what they want, without actually telling them that, hey, this is what we want you guys to do. Now that it's done, we're going to go ahead and do something else, which is why there's so much wordplay with what Jay Powell says. And there's this entire new field of study called Fed speak, where people are trying to translate what the Fed is actually saying. Why can't they just be clear with what they're saying? It's because of this. It's because they know that the markets will react and markets will have expectations of the market just based on these 12 people. So just think about that. Did you guys follow that? Did you guys understand that? Do you guys have any questions on that? Because this is really important for your own wealth management. How much do I bench? I don't bench heavy, man. I don't bench heavy. Not relative to you guys, at least. I've always been weak. So this is the question Martin asks. He's like, hey Sean, something not crypto related, just interested in what kind of workouts you are into, calisthenics, bodybuilding style, fitness, or powerlifting. Typical questions. And how much do you bench? I've always been generally weaker than everyone else, and I had like skinny arms and pudgy tummy and stuff like that. So I've never had natural strength. So currently I bench 2 plates and 825. It's like, and that's my max, 4 reps max. Not too much. Like I'm not doing 2 plates 25 off like 15. In terms of what I lift, how much I lift, I work out only 3 times a week, and I try to lift heavy. Past 20 years. Okay, so Philippe says, over the past 20 years, whenever the dollar index hit the weekly RSI, okay, let me finish his question, his statement. Whenever the dollar index hit the weekly RSI of 70 and then rolled over into negative momentum, that has usually presaged am I saying that word correctly? Am I pronouncing correctly? A rather persistent bearish move in the dollar from that. Okay, so this actually sits in line, or rather the Dixie in particular, because I want to talk about that, sits in line with Krisha's question. Because there are a couple of concerning things, right? Everyone's talking about Fed tightening. It's literally become narrative that no one cared about in crypto back in 2018. Krisha, J Powell had a pretty freaking bearish narrative back in 2018 as well. He literally was double tightening, right, from both ends. He got really hawkish, and no one cared back in 2018 in the crypto space. Do you remember that? It wasn't a strong narrative at all, not in the crypto space at least. But now everyone's talking about it. It's not because the crypto space has matured, by the way. In fact, I would say that we've freaking regressed. Look at the nonsense people are buying and actually justifying it. A lot of this is going to lead to some good technology, definitely, but we've not matured as a market. I don't think so, at least. But everyone's talking about this. Everyone. What you can decipher from that is that a lot of the edge from that idea is already baked into price. Okay? A lot of it, not all of it though, not all of it. And this is why I think people are gonna have a very harsh reality check on whether or not they actually know how to navigate these markets this year. This year is going to be that. We're going to see a lot of bounces. We're going to see people constantly switch their emotions around, and the people, that's one of the reasons, by the way, Krisha, why I was so hell-bent on this year's word being discipline for the two of us, and now for the community as well, because it's going to be discipline that is going to be required to navigate these markets. Because you're going to see Bitcoin bounce, you're going to see markets bounce, but it's only if you have your thesis written down and you know in your head that only if I see this and that will I turn bullish or ultra bullish again, will you be able to navigate these markets without getting hurt. Because the markets are going to go one way and then the other way, one way and then the other way. You need to have your bigger picture in mind to know where it's eventually going, right? So for example, let's just draw it over here. Let's say you know the markets are eventually going all the way here, okay, and we are currently sitting all the way over here, or it could be vice versa. This is where we could be sitting, and you think that markets are going all the way over here, right? In that interim, though, this is the kind of time where to get over here, we're not going to go like this. What we're going to do instead is we're going to do this. Right? So you're right. You're eventually right. But hey, your stop loss was here. 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 And depending on whether we're going up or down, of course, if your thesis is here, right, and you don't live through getting there, you're going to get your account liquidated. You're going to get your emotions liquidated. You're going to get your stamina liquidated. You're going to get liquidated. So that's the big battle, in my opinion, for this year. So you need to have the discipline to be able to stick with your thesis and stick with your idea and know how to trade it and have a plan to trade it, right? If you let the charts going up or going down lure you into one, getting into a position that you should not have got into based on your plan, and two, lure you into getting over positioned, even if it's in the direction that you expected. If you get over positioned and the markets liquidate you because of your margin requirements, both ways you're screwed. Both ways you're screwed. So that's what I think is happening. Yeah, so he was essentially, so Sean asks, Sean, what do you mean by double tightening, QT and interest rate increase? Do I understand that these are two separate levers? Yeah, so essentially they, or rather J Powell at the time postulated and started doing it actually. Yeah, he actually started doing it. They started reducing the balance sheet, so quantitative tightening, where they were actually selling off assets and they were increasing rates, right? Rate hikes. So they were doing both on both ends. So that's like a double whammy, and the market is so vulnerable right now that as soon as that's initiated, it freaking just, and here's the thing, guys. Do you guys think that the market is more vulnerable today, right? Right after 2020, with the amount of leverage people have taken to just fight off the inflation? Or do you guys think the markets were more vulnerable in 2008? Wait, did I say 2020? I meant 2020. So let me rephrase that. Let me re-say it. Do you guys think the market was more vulnerable in 2018, which was 8 years after, or 10 years after the 2008 financial crisis? Or do you guys think the market is more vulnerable today, which is literally only 2 years after a freaking pandemic? So think about whether or not the Fed really wants to risk any real aggression, any real long-term aggression in tightening. Right now they are proposing reducing their balance sheet, as well as 3 rate hikes in 2022. I think they're going to posture. They're going to cause the markets to do what they want the markets to do. More importantly, this has become a political issue because a lot of people are freaking pissed off that they can't afford any assets. They can't afford real estate. They can't afford equities. They can't afford freaking gasoline to drive to work. They can't afford anything. So politically, they have to show that they're doing something. But that is enough. That is enough because narrative matters. That is enough to temporarily liquidate you out of your position if you are not being disciplined. Yeah, today, exactly. Definitely today. The markets are far. Okay, so what the Fed has done though, what they're trying to do, they are putting in new mechanisms in place that did not exist before, like the standing repo facility or facility plan, or the SRF program, right? The standing repo facility. I think that's what it stands for. So essentially, they are putting in mechanisms that allow them to come and backstop the bond market quicker, to disallow any adverse moves in the market without them being able to react to it, like what happened in 2019 September, I believe, right? Yeah, 2019 September, the freaking repo market essentially imploded. So they're putting in all these mechanisms. I think they've put in 2 mechanisms. Again, there are people who can speak on that a lot more, in a lot more detail than I can. But they're trying to put all these pieces in because they know that the markets are vulnerable. They know that things are shaky. They know that if some spark triggers that they did not account for, that leads to an event, that leads to another event, that leads to a catalyst of another event, the butterfly effect could take place and the markets could implode again. And they don't want that, and they're putting in facilities in place to be able to come and backstop the market in case that happens. But that backstop, guys, is QE. That backstop is QE. That is going to be a reverse of what they've been currently doing, or rather posturing. As soon as that, they're literally putting in safeguards to be able to reverse on their posturing, right? Just think about it. So I think long run, by end of year, we are going to be back in the same position. And that could happen quicker. If the markets actually implode quicker and they have to step in quicker, the quicker we implode, the quicker we are bullish. Just think about that. Just think about that. September 19th, yeah. Repo rates jumped from 2% to 10% overnight. Overnight catastrophe. Oops. Okay, so we all agree that we are more vulnerable today. Here's the thing though. Here's the big question. We have interest rates spiking at the moment. This is definitely something to keep an eye on. We have broken out of this pennant. I think this is drawn on the weekly time frame. Yeah. And we are testing and looking to see continuation, which essentially means that yields are going to go up. I think the Fed is probably going to allow for this to happen in the midterm, short term to midterm, but in the long run, they cannot allow for this, right? Because yields going up is essentially going to mean that their debt obligations are going to go up as well, right? And they already have a lot of debt obligations. They already have like a lot of pension obligations that are coming up, and a lot of Medicare obligations as well. So this is not in their best interest in the long term, but in the short term, short to mid term, it is in their interest for rates to go up, to, like I said, politically, just to show the world, to show mostly, not mostly, but specifically the American public, that the Fed is doing something about this, right? The Biden administration especially wants to be looked at as a administration that is going to tackle the pains of the public. But they can't allow for that to happen in the long run. The people who are going to get screwed the most in the long run are going to be, again, people who are relying on their pensions to give them the yield, the bondholders, etc., because pension funds are literally like what, 60% bonds, 40% equity, something ridiculous like that. Gonna get wrecked, man. So this may go up and may actually see some resistance at around 2%. Let's see how this plays out. Here's what's interesting though. If we are seeing tightening, if things are turning around for the long term, if all of this was not priced in already, why are we seeing weakness on the dollar? This could be the dollar just literally retesting a major level and seeing continuation. But with what we recently saw, with the markets supposedly having more of a hawkish stance leading into the next years to come, why are we seeing this, right? Why is the dollar showing weakness? This should be showing strength over here. But what I think is happening is that this entire run up towards the upside, which essentially started, or the break happened around November, right? The break happened around November, if you think about it. Now again, I'm doing this on the fly, guys, so forgive me if I'm wrong, but I believe November was the time, was around the, Julian will remember actually. Julian, was November around the time when Jay Powell went back on his statement on inflation? He said something about inflation, right? What was it? Oh, transitory, inflation not being transitionary, right? They kept saying inflation was going to be transitionary, and then November they had a meeting and he said something like, we can forget about inflation being transitionary, or something along those lines. He said something like that, right? That was the first time he hinted a hawkish stance, that they were going to switch to a hawkish stance. And the market clearly reacted to that. They priced it in back then they priced it in, and now we're seeing continuation, or rather we saw the continuation. And now that it's out there, that everyone's talking about it, everyone's talking about tightening, the market is selling into it, right? Sell the event kind of thing. Does that make sense? Yeah, when you drop the transitory nonsense. So the dollar should not be showing weakness, in my opinion, and we can't really say that it's showing weakness through a TA perspective until it loses this level over here at around 95. But it broke 95, which was supposed to be a key level, and we never saw a continuation. In the long run, if this breaks down over here, this is going to look like a massive bull trap. Think about it, guys. Like, let's clear off our dynamic. You have a little W-like formation, retested the neckline, retested the major, or rather tested a major resistance level, broke past, and no continuation. You need to understand that the world is literally battling itself right now. When I say world, I'm talking about sovereigns, I'm talking about countries are battling themselves and they all are incentivized to keep their currency as low as possible. They don't want people, the whole world doesn't want the dollar to be strong, by the way. On top of that, the US doesn't want the dollar to be strong, because literally a stronger dollar is going to go against their new long-term goals, which is likely deglobalization. The world is deglobalizing, right? And that in itself is inflationary. By the way, that in itself is inflationary. If we truly see deglobalization, and a lot of signs point towards deglobalization right now, that is inflationary on its own. Prices are going to go up on it just because of that. Was looking back at an old podcast of Suzu during 2021. He was talking about the short dollar trade being overcrowded. Q2 2021. Okay, but 2022 now. I think the short dollar trade was overcrowded all the way in I see. Okay, yeah. I'm getting my dates right. The short dollar trade was overcrowded like mid 2020, man. But no, I think it probably, like, of course, like, if you think about it, the better time. So keep in mind, Suzu was a currency trader. Like they were. I think 3 Arrows Capital was essentially a currency for a good amount of time. They were focusing on trading only forex. So those guys they would know the market a lot more. Like, they would have more precise timing. And if you think about it, being long in 2021, Q2 2021 was the correct time, right? Q2, yeah, that would be somewhere around here. Yeah. Yeah, so being right is not as important as being right at the right time. That was the right time, right? 2021 Q2 was the right time to be right. In the long run, the dollar weakness is literally baked in into the world not collapsing. Like, if we don't want the world to collapse, dollar weakness needs to persist. If I were you guys, I would take a really cautious approach to how you position yourself, not just financially, but also with your family, with your where you live, etc. Over the next like 20 years, you have to consider where you want to live. Over the next 10 years, it may not be as important, but over the next 20 years, like, we may see things that you guys can't imagine happening in our current day and age, because we've been born into a world of just pure peace, right? Especially our generation. So put some thought into that. I know it sounds a little bit doomsday-y, but I'm generally an optimist. Which means more, Wolfsbane says, means more expensive imports, which is a political nightmare for US representatives. And it doesn't mean, yeah. So through a trade perspective, yes, that's massive. But more importantly, a strong dollar is going to make the debt obligations for the rest of the world, which is sitting around $13 trillion at the moment, going to be far more expensive, right? If the dollar gets expensive, like, think about it. If you have a debt to pay, and that's denominated in dollars, and now the dollar starts getting more and more expensive, for you to be able to earn those dollars is going to be more and more difficult, right? It's going to put far more burden on you. You're going to have to save more. You're going to spend less. The economy is going to go to shit because everybody's spending less, because they all need to pay back their debts, and their debt is getting more and more expensive. So each incremental month that is passing by, they're saving more and more. So that means when you are saving money, by the way, merchants like your grocery shops, your restaurants, your entertainment industry, they're all going to take a big hit because you're not spending. You're choosing to stay at home, you're choosing to cook at home, you're choosing to spend more time with your kids, which might actually all be good things for you. But the world doesn't want that for you. I mean, or rather, the central banks don't want that for you. The central banks want you to be a consumer. They want you to consume. They want you to ruin your life by doing what's bad. And because if you keep consuming, if we have that mass behavior, the economy is going to run faster. So they don't want the dollar to be strong because people's debts are going to get more expensive, and if people's debts get more expensive, they're going to spend less, they're going to be more prudent, they're going to be more fiscally responsible with their own personal balance sheets, and they don't want that. Right now, not just right now, for the past 30 years, you've been rewarded for being fiscally irresponsible with your own personal finances. Was quite likely, some way or another, I think so, man. I don't want to say quite likely. I think it is avoidable. But historically, if you study the past, 900 years? 900 years? Each time we've reached this deep into a call it a debt cycle, right? When we're this deep into the monetary printing or the monetary policy, right? It goes through phases of, you start with hard money, then you have soft money. You could call it soft money, right? You start with money, like real money. This is going to happen with Bitcoin too, by the way. This is going to, and don't tell Bitcoiners I'm saying this, but I think this is going to happen with Bitcoin too eventually, but I'm likely not going to be alive to see it. Start with hard money. You have money, you have now softer money that is essentially callable on this money, right? You can call on, you start with gold, then you have paper notes. Paper notes are callable on the gold, right? But you use paper notes because it's more convenient. And that's what we want as human beings. We're all freaking lazy, right? We are all lazy, man. It's one of our biggest sins. We're lazy. And we always revert to our laziness, especially when times are good. We think we deserve it, right? So, you have paper notes that are callable on gold because it's convenient, and then over time, as you start using paper notes, and it becomes more ingrained in society, the gold just goes away, and now you no longer even have soft money, you just have fiat. That's how fiat gets created, and this has happened over and over again, because that's the best way to be able to fund wars, right? Paper notes were created. More and more paper notes were created initially to be able to fund World War I, and then to be able to fund World War II, we just depegged from gold completely to create more and more paper notes, and then to be able to fund World War 2.5, which almost turned into World War III, the Cold War. We just went off the Bretton Woods system. We had the Nixon shock, and that's what essentially allowed USA to completely outfund and beat Russia, right? The Soviet Union. So wars are won on the ability to be able to print money. You could say that's a good thing, right? In that regard. Easy money. Yeah. Humans need to just chill the F out. Yeah. You wonder if consumerism of Christmas was planted by the banks. No. Well, you are correct. It was planted by the banks of that day and age, which was the Roman Catholic Church, right? The Roman Catholic Church came up with the Roman Catholic Church empire of back then, right? When they were at their prime, they came up with the most elaborate ways to have celebrations that allowed them to enrich themselves. I believe there was a celebration called the 3 weeks of something. Okay, so essentially, there were 3 weeks booked out in the year where there was you weren't allowed to do any trade, you weren't allowed to have any commercial. It was blasphemy. It was blasphemy to conduct any business whatsoever, right? What you were supposed to focus on was setting out tables, in your villages or your towns, etc., and just fill the tables full of food and tribute and gifts for the priests. and was it Lent? I don't think it was called Lent though. It was called something else. It's crazy, right? And good times, man. They had a blast. It was a different version of the Cantillon effect. But going back to what Stan said about war, if you guys think about it, everyone thinks that war is not going to happen because everyone has nuclear weapons, and because everyone has nuclear weapons, people are these major powers are not gonna they're not going to trigger war because of mutually assured destruction, right? That's what nuclear weapons allow for, mutually assured destruction. But the thing is, nuclear powers don't need to be the ones engaging in war, or rather like being the antagonists for war to actually spark out, right? And they could literally think to themselves that, you know what, we're not going to use nuclear weapons because China won't use nuclear weapons, so we'll just employ conventional means of warfare, and things could spark that way too. For example, like World War One, Britain did not want to go to war, right? The British did not want to go to war, nor did France. In fact, I think the only aggressors were Germany at the time, and that was also because of bad leadership, right? The Kaiser Wilhelm II seemed from my studies seemed to be a guy who had a chip on his shoulder because his uncle was the ruler of the British Empire at the time, and he wanted to prove something to the British Empire. But if it was a different Kaiser, he wouldn't have wanted to go to war. And just through provocation and the opportunity to be able to take advantage with what was going on with Austria and was it? It ended up being over the Bosnian rebels, right? The Bosnian rebels assassinated the Austrian Archduke, right? Who was also, by the way, at the time nobody cared about him. They assassinated an Archduke, and Austria declared war. And then, because Germany invaded Belgium, okay, here's the thing. Because Germany invaded Belgium, Britain was forced into war in order to uphold a treaty, the peace treaty that they had with Belgium. Britain did not want to go to war. In fact, they thought that they would just sit back and just watch it happen through the sidelines. They were happy about the fact that they did not have to get involved themselves. Britain did not want war with USA. They did not want war with Germany. They didn't want war with anyone. But because Germany wanted to invade France, and Belgium did not allow them to go through Belgium. They did not allow Germany to have its troops march through Belgium to get to France. Because they didn't allow that, Germany said, "F it, we're just going to invade you," right? And because Germany invaded Belgium just to be able to get to France, right? Britain was forced into the war, and because Britain was forced into the war, boom! You suddenly are in war with the world's ruling empire at the time. Even though they did not want to go to war. Now, this is sounding awfully similar to what's going on right now with China, Taiwan, and USA, right? Very, very freaking similar. It's like deja vu. So and here's the thing, right? If Britain did not go to war, if they did not uphold the peace treaty that they did have, they were literally undermining their position as a world power either way. When you are the world power, you are essentially the police force of the world power, right? You are the police. You're policing the world. And you have to uphold the rules. So right now, there's a similar treaty between, or similar dynamic at the very least, between USA, Taiwan, and China. So if China gets a bit too aggressive, and I don't think they will, they will force USA into a war, and that's not the only way things need to pan out. There could be something else. There are conflicts over the islands in the Southeast Asian Sea, right? Or Korea, Japan, all of them are allies, and a spark over there could cause a war. All the treaties led to global war. The Treaty of Versailles. Am I pronouncing that right? Versailles. How do you pronounce that? But that led to essentially Hitler coming into power, because again, over there, that was an emotional response by the French. I think the French were the ones who really pushed to completely wreck the Germans. Oh, by the way, what's happening over here too in the markets can lead to a catalyst towards war. Like a lot of things have gone south just through trade agreements, right? Just through trade agreements. Like, what if China decides to start like saying, you know what, we're aggressively. What if USA does something to piss off China, or USA adds sanctions on China, like aggressively, like another power like Donald Trump comes into power, and or rather another persona like Donald Trump comes into power and starts applying all these crazy sanctions on China, and China starts responding by just dumping all bonds, dumping the treasury market completely, because China holds a lot of treasuries. They do that. On top of that, they also start because China imports a lot of food, okay? Believe it or not, guys, China does not make most of their food. Most of their food is imported, and I think they're importing it from the USA. If they start causing trouble and problems for all USA imports, and they just allow they allow the food to reach their docks, but they don't allow the food to enter the country, right? Because of whatever food regulations, they claim food regulations, and on the other side, they're also dumping the treasury market. Right? What's going to happen to the bond market? Let's go back to the yields. Oops. All right. 10-year yield. Trying to reach over my. Okay. Again, these are just scenarios I'm coming up with over here. Right? The yield market is going to go up. Right? The 10-year yields are going to go up. The entire bond market is going to implode. And again, that's gonna cause retaliation by the US government, and this is So TANS is something really interesting, and it's essentially what I just talked about. Screw weapons. If I had to wage war right now, I'll just be like Soros and try to short either the dollar and the yuan. I'll be aiming to outright bankrupt the nation. Yeah, that's going to be the first. That's going to be one of the first means of attack that nations are going to employ, right? Cyber warfare. What if we just go ahead and just like DOS attack, like denial of service attack, the entire all of NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange? What if you just DOS attack that and you do it in a way that they don't even know that it's you, and markets keep crashing and recovering, but in the long run, or even in the it could happen really quickly. Actually, if that happens more than twice, people are going to lose confidence in keeping their funds on the exchange. What if you hack these centralized servers? By the way, another big point in Bitcoin's favor. What if cyber warfare allows for hacking of these centralized servers, okay? And people's account data just gets freaking wiped out and deleted. And you try to log in to your exchange, and you find out that your account doesn't exist, and when you call up customer support, they tell you that we have no data of you whatsoever, sir. Please give us some time to figure this out. 1 day passes by, 2 days pass by, and you're wondering, what the hell, my entire wealth is on there. 1 week passes by. What are you guys going to, like, think about what the market starts feeling at that point, right? Counterparty risk, it ends up being a contagion risk, where it starts like trending towards the upside, and people start appointing more and more risk to counterparty risk until we reach a point of bank run, where people just start fleeing the market because they don't want any of it. They don't want to take any risk whatsoever in this market that it's losing its ability to guarantee you safety. Because right now, everyone trades in the market expecting safety, complete safety. What happened when that's threatened? And that starts being an actual fear. And then that turns into a bank run, right? Cyber warfare can dismantle an entire country, man. Jeff Booth was saying that it's possible that some exchanges may be operating fractional reserve system with their BTC holdings. Isn't it inevitable though, Julian, in the long run? Trading is going to work out for Mock. So Stan says, cool, good for you, man. Many opportunities if trading doesn't work out. I'm pretty sure trading is going to work out for Mock. But it's not like Mock isn't taking advantage of his skills. He is. You get, well, not specifically cybersecurity, but. So, Julian, you mentioned that you think that the Ukraine-Russia threat is a lot more likely than China or Taiwan. Do you know anything about USA's obligations to Ukraine versus USA's obligations towards Taiwan? Is trading recession proof? You deleted the message, Raja, but I read it. You said it's trading recession proof. It is recession proof. Is it war proof? During times of war, the markets actually do spectacularly well, historically at the very least. Or at least the USA did really well, because each time the last 2 times that war did break out, the USA was on the sidelines, right, for the initial part of the war, and their markets did really well because they got to take advantage of all the money flowing into their markets because, well, countries were outsourcing all of their manufacturing to the USA. So accordingly, you place your bets based on what's actually going on. Speaking of which, by the way, from all the countries that have actually averted war during these kind of scenarios, when there's one rising power coming in to face, or rather challenge, another rising power, and at the moment the reason Julian, the reason the USA and China threat is a lot more pressing than the Russia and USA threat is because, or rather war, is because China is more of a economical threat to USA than Russia. Russia is more of a military threat. I think they have the second most powerful military in the world, but China is strong through a economic perspective, and that's really, from at least from what I understand through my readings, those are the empires that have come to become the ruling empires in the world, the ones that got strong through an economical perspective, angle is what I want to use. The empires, or rather civilizations that strengthened the economy, those are the ones that actually turned out to be the ruling powers, USA included. USA started outperforming Britain's GDP around 1890. Okay, 1890. That's when they started outperforming Britain's GDP, or actually matching it. By the first 10 years of the 1900s, USA overtook Britain's GDP. Or rather, Britain's share of world GDP dropped down from around 25% to 13% in 1910, and USA's GDP rose up to around 30%, right? So once that's around the time where people really started saying, damn, USA is becoming a serious power in the world. They didn't consider them the world power at the time. No one was talking about it. Britain was still the world power, right? Similar with the Dutch and the British, right? When the Dutch started losing its power, or started losing its status as the world power, was way after its overall GDP dropped compared to the rest of the world, and the British were rising. You can go back all the way to, who's another example? The Athenians and the Spartans. Actually, the Spartans and the Athenians, in my opinion, are a really good example of, or rather, good one-to-one comparison towards. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that they're a good one-to-one comparison to USA and China. In some ways, they are, because the Spartans were a military state, right? They were military power. They focused on their military, and the Athenians were a trading power. Right, they focused on their ability to trade the ability to trade on the sea. They took advantage of the maritime, I don't know how to pronounce it, the maritime trading opportunities that posed itself after the Persians tried to invade and failed to invade, because the Athenians and the Spartans allied together. Right, we all watched 300, right? So after the movie 300, the story that unfolded was essentially the Athenians and the Spartans actually beat the Persians over the succession of 2 wars. They beat the Persians, knocked them back, and then that opened up a time of peace, right? Similar to USA right now, right? There's a war. But the world managed to get past that war, and we had a massive period of peace. During the peace period, China came to power through trade, right? Their trading ability, their global trading ability, put them in the driver's seat of the world right now, or a position that nobody can ignore at the very least. Similar with the Athenians. The Athenians became very rich because of the ability to trade, while the Spartans focused on their ability to police the Greek countries and the Greek states around them, the Greek cities around them. And then eventually they were also, by the way, that's funny, you could draw a parallel there too. The Athenians and the Spartans did not want to go to war with each other, even though they threatened war with each other over stupid issues or major issues. That sometimes they did not want to go to war with each other, because they knew that it would be devastating to both of their economies, right? But they were eventually pulled into war by their freaking allies. The Corinthians got into war with some small ass city or state over some naval dispute, where the Corinthians were embarrassed and they lost their war, lost a battle. It wasn't a war, lost a battle. So the Corinthians built up a fleet, sent it to that city, and that city called the Athenians for help. The Athenians were like, damn, if we help, that's going to piss off the Spartans, because the Spartans are allied with the Corinthians. And then there was a huge debate on that. So what the Athenians did was, you know what, we'll just send a few ships to just to like arbitrate the scenario, just to make sure nothing goes wrong, you know, just to keep things in order, right? Just to uphold our peace treaty with our ally. But as soon as they did that, the Corinthians get really pissed off and they go to the Spartans and they threaten the Spartans and say, if you don't come help us, we are going to break our alliance with you. And now the Spartans are thinking, damn, if we lose face to the Corinthians, no one's going to respect us as a world power. We're going to lose our dominance as the world power, or our image as the world power. And then the Spartans were pulled into war primarily because of this dynamic, right? A rising power and a falling power, or rather, a falling power, which were the Spartans in terms of trade, etc., and the rising power, the Athenians. And then they both freaking went to war, and they both lost power. You could say the same thing about the British and the Germans, right? The British and the Germans both went to war, right, with each other. The Germans, by the way, nobody talks about this, but maybe people do, but not as much. People talk about China. But at the time, the Germans were the rising power. Their GDP was going up. Their military power was going up. They were in the position that China currently is in, where they were strong militarily and they were strong through an economic perspective as well. Britain wanted none of that. Boom, right? And on the other side, USA just got more and more powerful. And now we have this world. 2 hours in and we're talking about Spartans and Athenians. Oh man, I'm sorry guys, Jesus Christ. Do you guys want to talk about charts? Or do you guys want to keep going? Cormac says, agree with some, not all of it. I'm welcome to hear your thoughts and opinions. I'm not like a expert on any of this, man. Like, I'm not claiming to be an expert on any of this, by the way. These are my opinions on what I'm reading and I'm learning and I'm deciphering. I'm trying to, because you can read and learn and know all this information, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to come up with insights and understand how these dynamics all played out. And I could be wrong. You could know way more about this than I do. I don't have a academic background in history or anything like that. Give me 10 years, man. Give me 5 to 10 years. And then I'll probably know a lot more than I do right now. But yeah, these are my thoughts, man. Hardcore history podcast. No, I'm not. I don't listen to any history podcasts. So I just read books. So Wikipedia too helps. I thought you knew everything the way you talked about. I know the movie 300. I know that. I know the movie 300. I know Troy. I know 300. Those were my favorite movies, man. But I don't know anything about history. I know nothing about history, man. Does anyone know anything about history? Really? There's so, like, you can go so freaking far back. Hardcore history podcast, hey Raj, I'll check it out, man. I've not heard of it. If you guys have any resources or any books for me to read, please let me know. I'll pick them up. Stan says, Sean, you should find someone in this community who has equal interests and know-how and do an intellectual podcast together about these topics. It would be interesting. Are you guys really down for it? Sherwin, Krisha and I were deliberating starting a separate channel where we talk about these kind of things. So that's currently why I'm doing these live streams only once a week, because I don't want to like crowd the channel up with stuff that most people don't want to know about. But what we're thinking is Krisha leads the trading channel on Mango Research, and Chauvin helps with the new channel. Again, these are just brainstorming ideas. These times will rhyme with history somehow. Human emotions, yeah. Human emotions will never, ever ever change, which is why you could pick up the oldest books on technical analysis from like 200 years ago. If you guys like in Seed, we talk about ideas from like freaking what, 17th century, like I'm forgetting the dates, probably earlier, right? 15th century. Like these are ideas that have stuck through time, man, because emotions don't change. Everything else will change, but our emotions will not change. And that's what the chart's really depicting, guys. The charts are showing us human emotions, nothing else. Yeah, it's definitely niche. Some people just want targets, so it will never get huge, but it's rewarding, and I think you like it. Yeah, and yeah, that's what's more important. I need to enjoy it, and I can't be that channel, or I can't be that person that gives people targets. Like, well, firstly, I don't have targets myself, man. I'm a trend trader. It's so hard for me to give people targets when I'm like, it's going up. It's gonna go up until it stops going up. I don't ever sell, right? Until the trend ends. I just never sell. I'm like, oh shit, it broke the low, I'm out. Right? Because, man, I've seen enough pain. I felt enough pain where an asset just kept going and going and going and going. I don't want to ever go through that again. That was more painful than losing some profits, at least for me. If you have a history channel, I suggest focusing on economic history. Even the global slavery trade is economic. Yeah, dude, it's all about economics, man. It's all about economics. Even slavery was about economics at the end of the day. I mean, the motivation was economical, right? It was more to it than just that, of course. Don't want to sound insensitive, but you know what I mean, right? It's all driven by human greed, human need for power, right? And both of those go hand in hand, right? Wealth drives power, power drives wealth. The more wealth you have, the more powerful you can be. The more power that you have, the more wealthy you can be. It goes hand in hand. We want power, and what, as disgusting as this sounds, what better way to depict your power than to enslave people, right? Kusha, I noticed, haha, Sean always gets so deep into these things. I apologize if we're not doing enough trading, man. Let's talk about some TA. What do you guys want to talk about in terms of the charts? What is my vision for the Mango community? My vision for the Mango community has always been, I've always been firm on this one idea where I'm not the one. I teach you guys enough to take over the community, where you guys can take over the community and start teaching people after I'm gone. That was it from day one, man. I used to talk about it when I first started this channel. That's why I didn't name the channel Sean's Crypto Channel or something like that. That's why I named it Mango, and it wasn't named after my name. Krisha says you guys just had a glimpse into my day with Sean. Oh man, Krisha has to deal with my nonsense throughout the day. Like I just have these ideas and I come up to her while she's in the middle of something. Especially while, let's say she's cooking a meal for herself and she's super hungry. And then I'm like, Krisha, you gotta listen to this. And she's like, oh. And she half wants to tell me to just shut up and leave her alone. And the other half of her is like, at the end, but I also want to know, I also want to learn. And also, I don't want to make him feel bad. So I just listen to him. Even though I'm hungry and I'm in no mood for this nonsense, she'll listen to me because she loves me. and I love her so much for that. I need someone to just bounce my ideas off, man. The revolutioner says money equals power nowadays, but in past time, a man's might and honor was his power, and so mankind nowadays is weak and honorless. That's pretty profound, but back in the day we didn't have technology, we didn't have guns, so a man's might was essentially his ability to walk into a village and use his sheer power to dominate that village and extract money from that village, right? To extract tribute from that town or village. Think about Khal Drogo. Khal Drogo, this is my hero. The way he ripped out that guy's freaking throat from his tongue from his throat. But that was a man, that Khal Drogo represented that idea that you talked about, right? Well, technology changes. I wrote an article called Bitcoin Gives You Wings, right? That talks about this idea of the balance between violence and your ability to defend yourself against violence. That constant shift of balance between technology allowing you to inflict more violence and then technology allowing you to be more defensive, right? Depending on the time, the phase of the world that we're in, whether inflicting more violence is better or being defensive is better, you're going to see a shift in how civilization behaves. So, for example, the knights, right? The knights and their armor and their horses, etc. That was all technology, dude. Like they spent, I think, 200 years being able to breed the horses, the stallions that could support a knight in with all his armor, right, to support all that weight. And then even the big lance, that was a technology. They came up with that because before that, knights were still using swords and it was hard for them to reach down. So all of those things were technology that allowed them to inflict violence on people. But then we came up with technology that allowed us to defend ourselves. Similarly, Bitcoin is that technology, right? Bitcoin is a form of technology that allows you to defend yourself against the violent attack of inflation. Right? Read the article. I explained my thoughts a lot better in the article. But if any of you could link that article, it would mean a lot to me. Link it to this person. It's called Bitcoin Gives You Wings. But yeah, technology allows you to change the shape of violence. Okay, Mackenzie had a good question. Let's talk about how we change our strategy when the market changes from bull to bear. Oh, I don't understand. What do you mean? Your strategy, you need to trade your strategy, man. I can't give you guys a trading strategy. For example, again, it depends on the time frame that you're trading. If you're trading them, you could literally say, I'm not trading a bear market. You could say, this asset is long-term bullish. It's completely fine to say this, by the way. What? Bitcoin liquid index. This doesn't look right. Brave new coin liquid index is what I'm looking for. Okay, you could literally say that this is a long-term bullish asset. It's constantly going up. I'm not going to trade its bear market phases at all, and I'm only going to wait for it to turn bullish, and I'm going to trade it only in the bullish direction, right? If you're trading leverage, that's completely fine. People shit on that a lot, but I think that's a completely fine strategy that if you want to employ, you can employ that. Now, that being said, I'm going to be a hypocrite to say that, because I personally achieved most of my success, and my big turning points were the bear market, and I was able to acquire my initial big wins through shorting in the bear market. But that's not to say that you can't employ the strategy of just saying, you know what, I'm not going to trade during a bear market, because you don't want to be. I've seen people not being able to time this zone here well, and they were stupidly bearish. They were stupidly bearish over here, and they just got wrecked, man. And they didn't enter the market again. They didn't enter the market. I put a lot of thought into this. I'm like, it would have been much better for them to just say, you know what, I'm just not going to trade during the bear market, and I'm only going to trade during the bull phases. So you just stay on the sidelines during the bear market and trade only one direction. Okay, there's no shame in that. There's absolutely no shame in that, because this asset is for the most part, it's only going up, man. If you just recognize this until this changes, until this trend changes, and you say, you know what, I'm not going to trade Bitcoin, or I'm not going to trade crypto in a bearish direction. As much money as I can make in the bearish direction, I'm not going to trade in the bearish direction. I'm only going to trade it up whenever it does look bullish. So your strategy then switches to saying, you know what, if I've identified that the market is bearish, I'm staying out until the market turns bullish. Because let's say you shorted the top of 20,000. What was your gain? $84,000, 84%, right? 80%. You shorted that, you got a nice 80% gain. But let's say instead you saved all of that energy and that mind power, and you went and studied, and you got better as a trader, better as a human being, improved other things in your life, and instead you longed somewhere around 4,200, not even the bottom at 3,000, right? 4,200 was a very easy long, by the way, very easy long. I know, because we were long from 3,800-ish, and 4,200 was a no-brainer long. What was your gain to the upside? Same direction, same amount of move back to 20,000, 320%, right? So yeah, you got 8% towards the downside, but your upside moves are that much more, guys. 4x more. Sounds like it was easier for you when there's not a lot of competitors during the bear market conditions. I mean, of course, I'm going to be biased and say, no, it was a lot more difficult back then, right? I'm not going to want to say, no, it was easier for me. I don't think it was that. I just had a lot more to lose. Sorry, I had a lot less to lose. I have a lot more to lose now by being bearish, right? I don't want to be bearish and give up Bitcoin, because I think back to those horror stories where people lost Bitcoin trying to get, because here's the thing, being bearish on Bitcoin is greed, because being bearish allows you to collect a lot more Bitcoin. That's the truth of it. If you're over, this is the best way I can put it. If you're long-term bullish on Bitcoin, if you decide to be mid-term bearish and short the market, or leverage short the market, the truth is you're being greedy and you want more Bitcoin, and that's why you're doing it, right? Because you have a projection that Bitcoin, let me find a clean space over here. If you have a projection, let's talk about the psychology of this. If you have a projection that Bitcoin is eventually taking this path all the way to $1 million, and you're saying, you know what, I'm going to short this and I'm going to buy here, right? Because I want to eventually get here. So you are literally trading this spread, and you're trying to greed this spread, right? I'm not saying that's wrong, but you need to identify and acknowledge that you're doing that. Okay? And then you got to sit back and ask yourself, is it worth it? Am I at the point in my life where I want to take that risk? How much do I stand to lose? How much I want to put on the line, etc., 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 right? Because if you're eventually going here, your trade is still right in the long run, right? Now, I'm not saying don't trade at all. Okay, I'm not saying don't trade at all and just hodl. What I'm trying to say is that for some people, it might be better to say don't short this market. You're completely fine to de-risk, etc., 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 but you don't need to trade this area here. You could say that my trading strategy only works for this area here, right? And you could identify that and not get wrecked emotionally by trying to short and then Bitcoin bounce on your face. Because what if you short Bitcoin and you try to what if you overly sell? I don't want to say you de-risk, because de-risking means that you do it in a methodical manner. But what if you end up shorting your core position on Bitcoin? Let's say you say, I have 1 Bitcoin or 10 Bitcoin or 100 Bitcoin, whatever, depending on your portfolio. That's your core position. You don't want to be underneath this whatsoever until you reach this target that you have over here. Okay, this target of $1 million, $2 million, $200,000, whatever it be. You're like, I want to have 100 Bitcoin or 10 Bitcoin or 1 Bitcoin for when we reach $200,000. Okay, and then you sell half your Bitcoin because you get greedy and you want to have 2 Bitcoin suddenly to get there. And you start thinking to yourself, man, if I short at $20,000 and then I buy back at $3,000, I can have 5 Bitcoin, right? You start saying these things in your head. You suddenly lost sight of your plan. You've lost sight of your goal. You've lost sight of your initial discipline that you're supposed to keep in place. So if you're doing that, know that you're doing that, and then ask yourself, wait, do I really need to get 5 Bitcoin? Maybe if I take smaller positions, I don't risk all my Bitcoin. Maybe if I just take a portion of it, a small portion of it, and I take advantage of this minimum downside before we go up, I can be happy with that, because that way I'm not getting greedy. But I know people who sold all their Bitcoin, and Krisha knows who I'm talking about over here. Multiple people who sold all their Bitcoin, oh god, at freaking 3,500 to 3,300 average, depending on who you're talking about, and they didn't get back in, man. So know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and then understand your own emotions and ask yourself, will you get back in if you sell your Bitcoin and price does not do what you expect it to do? Will you get back in? Will you get back in? Because think about it, guys. Because I saw people who make that mistake, and I saw the pain that they went through, and I saw them disappear from the space, I reminded myself of that when I sold Bitcoin to hedge during COVID, right? Remember, we were bearish here. We were bearish during this entire period. We were trading the 4-day and the 2-day, etc., etc. But here we're looking at the daily. But during COVID, I was only shorting, right? I was only shorting this entire phase here. I was shorting until this happened. I'm like, F it, man, F it, right? I was net short my core position. I bought all back. Because I'm like, I'm not going through that shit, man. I don't care for it. And at the time, by the way, it pained. I felt some pain to be able to have to buy at a higher price than I sold. But look at how insignificant it is today, right? Look at how insignificant it is today. So I knew I could trust myself emotionally to be able to buy back after being wrong on my idea. Mackenzie Allen says, okay, I'm greedy, and I need to DCA back into my position. Yeah, I think at the beginning of the stream, I said we should get back to this idea, get back to the statement that you made. You said something right at the beginning of the stream. I wanted to expand on that, but I guess you got your answer. Okay, so Julian says that's a good point. So Mock for once in his life said something that was important. So let's go find that rare statement. I don't see anything. Julian probably read someone else's statement, which makes a lot more sense. Oh, Krisha says it too, though. You guys can't be talking about Mock. Pedro says, second time Bitcoin trying to break 44K, apparently losing power. What do you think? What's losing power? Bitcoin? I mean, depends again. I know you guys don't want me to say this, but depends on the time frame you trade. I mean, this looks good, man. This is looking good right now. What do you mean the bears are losing power? Because if we close the 4 hour here in 1 hour and 47 minutes, this looks like it's gonna reach towards our $46,000 level. Okay, Mark says fewer competitors doesn't make it easier, means that the people are left are more likely to be seasoned traders. Exactly. I didn't want to say that because that's precisely what happened. The traders who were trading at the 3K region, they were all traders. They were only traders who were trading. There were no speculators, no FOMO, moon buyers. The only traders who were there, the only people trading the market, they were traders. That's it. Because all the wannabes got crushed out of the market at that point. There was a lot more like detailed analysis in my personal crypto groups, like, you know, like groups of like 3-4 people back during the 3K region. Yeah, I think back then was like the hardest trading environment I've had. It was a lot more focused. But again, it's biased for me to say that, right? Of course, I'm going to want to say that too. Julian says 3-day bullish, or rather bearish 3K. Yeah, 3-day TK cross. You think this is going to get tested and rejected? The cloud may flip red too. 2 days already flipped bearish. We're not the cloud yet though, so. I don't see this not crossing bearish. But it could uncross. Julian, what's your strategy for Bitcoin for this year? I mean, short term, I'm not bullish until Bitcoin breaks 46K. If you're talking about ultra short term, you want to talk about the lower time frames. I think if we close above 44,200ish and take out the wick over here at 44,355, we're moving towards this level here. It's a big vacuum zone between 45.5K to 45.7K, right? So this is a short-term trade right here. It's a pretty easy trade actually. So essentially looking for can close about this region here, taking out the wick over here at 44,372, likely going to make our way to this zone over here. It's a vacuum trade. It's going to likely line up with the 12-hour Ichimoku C-span trade. There we go. So yeah, wait, what? Okay, yeah, we're closing the 12-hour in 1 hour and 44 minutes. We confirmed the close over here. We've retested the Tenkin. Likely gonna, well, what? Test the 12-hour Kijun, right? That's a C-span trade that could unfold. That's lining up with what we're seeing on the 4-hour structure as well. The 1-hour structure. Yeah, right over there. Four-day bullish setup still intact. What's your 4-day bullish setup? I don't see anything bullish on the 4-day. I've been buying spot in this bearish period, but likewise. Okay. I see. Yeah. That's a really good strategy. You you guys see what Julian just wrote down there? That's literally all you guys need to use that as a template moving forward for all your Bitcoin periods, where you say I'm buying spot during the bearish periods, and I'm not going to get leveraged long until dash level is taken out, right? In this particular scenario, it's $53,000 that you don't get leveraged, you don't get pulled into a leverage position. And when I say pulled, I'm talking about the charts driving your emotions and getting you into a leverage position before you should be. Look at the 4-day, look at the Tenkin, and the 4-day Tenkin is now coming closer to that $53,000 level. Top of the cloud, $53,000 level. 21 EMA overhead. Oops, no reason to get bullish yet. I'm out of spot. Okay, you mean out of fiat to buy more Bitcoin. Hey, how's it going, Alexandru? Damn, guys, it's almost 2.5 hours of us streaming. I think I'm gonna have to call it quits now. I'm tired. Spoke a lot today. We didn't talk about anything TA. Any questions before I leave? Thank you, Julian. You guys like the stream where we talk about absolutely nothing at all? Does Trisha admit that she was wrong about bearish thoughts about MATIC macro? Yeah, she always admits it. We're always wrong all the time, man. Don't be a smug idiot about it. Literally, Mango's philosophy is being wrong. By the way, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I don't know what Trisha's thesis is. I have no idea. But what I can tell you is that what makes us a legit community is because we are wrong. And we manage our losses when we're wrong. We don't pretend to be right all the time. So don't be smug. You can find a different community if you're looking to be right all the time, because we are wrong all the time. Okay, Mackenzie asks, question, will ETH flip BTC this year? How does it matter? I mean, if Ethereum flips This is what I can tell you. Unless your trade is, I will make money if Ethereum flips Bitcoin, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, right? Especially if you're denominating your gains on based on USD. Let's say Bitcoin goes to $100,000, okay, and Ethereum goes from $4,000 to $8,000. In that case, they both 2x, so they've cancelled each other out, and you're long Ethereum, you're long Bitcoin. It doesn't matter whether one outperforms the other. But let's say Ethereum goes to $8,000 and Bitcoin goes to $120,000. Okay, in this case, Ethereum has underperformed Bitcoin, but it's still 2x'd. It's still 2x'd. Okay, now let's say Bitcoin goes to $75,000. And Ethereum goes to $8,000. In this case, Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin by hardcore, but really it's only 2x. So how does it matter? How does it matter? The only people who should care about Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin is probably Bitcoin maximalists who are looking to buy Ethereum to gain more Bitcoin, right? Wait, you're not even looking for Bitcoin you're not looking for Ethereum to outperform, you're looking for Ethereum to flip. The flipping is completely irrelevant. What you should care about is the outperformance. Auntie Boomer's in here. How's it going? Oh, you're trying to make a joke. Okay. Apologies, man. Apologies. I try to nip that behavior in the bud because we don't want the community, you know, turning into that kind of. So apologies if I was a little bit too harsh on you. I was a bit too stern. My bad. Alright, Mackenzie. Good night, man. I'm gonna head out too. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Until next time, do the mango way, do it the easy way, do it the stress-free way. Does it matter if ETH outperforms BTC? This is the second safest crypto after Bitcoin to me. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Definitely a long-term crypto. Definitely the second safest, but the disparity in how safe one is versus the other is still freaking wide, right? Like if you measure the safety of Bitcoin over here, Ethereum safety is not like right here, okay? Just because on the market cap it looks like this, Ethereum safety is like, I'm trying to fit it on the screen. Yeah, this is like 3k bottom and 20,000 here, right? That's the difference in terms of in my opinion. I'm pretty sure this is everyone's opinion. I don't think any Ethereum developer themselves can really look you in the eye and say that Ethereum is a lot safer than Bitcoin. No, there's no way. My thoughts on Ethereum 2.0 is that it is very ambitious. If they manage to pull it off, freaking amazing, great. It's going to be great for the space, great for the DeFi space, right? Especially the DeFi space. But that's left to be seen, right? And that's the risk premium that you're going to be paying for, right? You being long your wealth on Ethereum, on something that needs to come into fruition through an engineering perspective, where so many things can go wrong. I don't know about that. I have Ethereum, by the way. I have Ethereum, but it's not my wealth, not my entire wealth in Ethereum. People doing that, they're bold. And here's the thing, if Ethereum ends up being successful and they pull off what they're doing, everyone who took the risk by putting all their wealth in Ethereum, they deserve to be successful because you took the risk, right? Because you took that risk, you put your entire wealth on something that could really just fall apart. Like, it's not easy, man. There's a big difference. So people who are successful longing Ethereum or are putting all their wealth in Ethereum 10-20 years from now, they're probably going to gain a lot more wealth in Ethereum if Ethereum is successful. That's my answer. I still think Ethereum is a shitcoin. Yeah, but Julian, Raul could lose 90% of his wealth and still be richer than everyone in here combined, right? So think about that too. Think about that too. I'm not saying Raul is like misguiding people. He's telling you that he's being very open. I've said so many good things about Raul, so you guys know my thoughts about Raul. I'm just saying don't draw. People in here shouldn't draw one-to-one comparison. Raul himself, by the way, I'm pretty sure there was an interview in 2021 where the interviewer asked him, what would you do? What advice would you give someone in their 20s or early 30s? And Raul said 50% Bitcoin, 50% cash, right? Think about that. So He didn't even say 90% Bitcoin, 100% Bitcoin, none of that shit. He said 50% Bitcoin, 50% cash, because if this all goes to shit, if it all goes to zero, you still have 50% cash, and you don't have much to lose anyways at that age, right? So hot, really, man? People still look at the coin. Polo chain, Polo BTC. We haven't done any altcoin analysis over here whatsoever today. It's literally sitting in no man's land, man. But mid time frame, or rather middle of the range resistance right over here. On this is the 4-day. Okay, I was looking at the 4-day. Let's see if this lines up with the weekly. The 4-day looked a lot cleaner, to be honest. But yeah, could make its way up over here. This is the Bitcoin pair. No, this is BUSD. So I guess that's USD. It's good enough. He said it's the biggest personal position he's taken by a factor of 10. So technically, it's the biggest personal position he's probably taken by a factor really of 2, because not really, even less than 2, because he took a huge position in Bitcoin. I think 90% Bitcoin when Bitcoin was around 7,000, 8,000 ish, right? And then Bitcoin 5x'd, right? More than 5x'd. And then he started switching into Ethereum. This is what you guys don't understand. He got a massive win in Bitcoin, denominated in USD terms, right? What do traditional investors do when they have massive wins? When they're deep into the bull market, they go further out the risk curve, right? When they go further out the risk curve, they take those gains and they put on more risk. So now he's always sitting with around a 7x to 5x. So yeah, nominally it's his biggest position ever. It's not like he's gone more bullish than he did in Bitcoin. He just has more to play with. Get it? Again, I'm not disparaging anything. I'm like, look at the bigger picture, guys, and try not to FOMO into things. Yeah, ETH needs a lot of time. Exactly. Vitalik won't BS about that. He said it a long time ago too, that we're very far away from Ethereum coming to its long-term goals, reaching its long-term goals. Also, like, yeah, never mind. Cheers, Jack. Raja, come on, man. You know I'm tired and you're asking about altcoins. You should know better. Oh, all right. We'll do a separate live stream this weekend. I'll try to do a separate live stream this weekend where we discuss only shitcoins. Because when I say shitcoins, I mean altcoins. By the way, I don't mean that they're shit. There's gonna be winners. Some are gonna be spectacular, probably outperform Bitcoin. I mean, you guys know what I mean. Conclusions on Holochain is that there are better coins to be trading. Wouldn't be trading this. It's too difficult to trade. Why would you trade this? It's on a weekly downtrend, man. Like, why would you trade? If it comes down here, if it comes down maybe to you have weekly support. That's my conclusion. Oh, wait, monthly. This is monthly support. Is there more history? No, this is not monthly support. Yeah, this is not, no. If it breaks this was a good buy right here. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, Krisha's been doing coins, doing analysis on coins that you guys should be looking at. Don't try to buy bottoms and tops. I mean, don't try to buy bottoms, don't try to sell tops. We could split it between some alts and rants and some alts, rants and education content. Yeah, let's do that. We need an arbitrator though to stop me in my tracks. Conclusions. Yeah, I already answered that. All right, for reals though, for reals, before Krisha gets mad at me. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. My name is Sean Dexter. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, do the mango way, do the easy way. Ciao. Yeah, Sean's weekend.